Hi, my name's Rory and I am an implementation consultant at Orlo, and I wanted to talk you through what we have found in our just over 2 weeks of listening to the conversation around Keir Starmer's resignation and conversation around the UK government at large. So part of my job is to help inform and implement social listening strategies, and I dove into the platform when the resignation was announced to start tracking conversations around Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham and the UK government at large. And what we started doing was using the platform to identify themes, calculate metrics like sentiment and trust, and start to pull out what was driving the conversation and on which platforms. So to give you a summary of what we found during the last 2 weeks, unsurprisingly, the conversations were dominated by very polarised views around Keir and the announcements, but the clear positive theme we found was the position on Keir's performance on the global stage and reactions to the comments from Macron around Keir and his respect for him. On the other hand, Keir faced some really harsh criticisms, particularly on X, for the recent social media policy, for his and the UK government's position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and also some scepticism around Andy Burnham's leadership skills. The platform with the lowest sentiment was X, which wasn't much of a surprise to us, and there were about 55% of all messages we found around these topics coming in with either a negative or a very negative sentiment score. What surprised me though was that the source with the highest sentiment was actually press and media, and I think the optimism that we saw in a lot of that was driven by the emotions we found on the platform, which were caring, gratitude, and that helped to balance out the emotions we saw around anger and disgust on that press and media source. That's just a very top level view of what we can do in platform, and the power around Orlo is the ability to dive down into those results and really drill down into individual messages around those themes. And I think my favourite one from what I've seen so far was a load of messages comparing the fact that with 7 PMs in 10 years, our 30-degree weather at the moment, and our exceptional performance in the World Cup, that we are basically becoming Italy. Although I don't think our pizza is quite as good, if I'm honest, but maybe we'll get there. We do currently have a live daily analysis, and I'm sure our marketing team will put a link underneath, so do go and check that out. And thanks for listening.